you, and you have me. Everywhere I go, you're there. Years will pass, and you will see that I have you, and you have me.
Welcome to Cunningham Piano. I am Hugh Sung, and I am so excited about tonight's Clavinova live workshop with an amazing artist. His name is Heratch Touresian. He's been with Yamaha for over 20 years. But before I actually show this handsome man's face on the screen, don't laugh. I just wanted to point out, for those of you who have registered for this workshop and are on our Cunningham Piano page for this, I wanted to point out something in terms of the ability to send me your questions. There's actually a chat applet. So a little bit of behind the scenes techiness. So I'm using YouTube to stream live. And one of the cool things about YouTube is that you can actually add chats while you're watching the video. Now I'm going to be keeping an eye on the chats here. This will give you an opportunity for you to ask questions, and I'll pass them along to Heratch during the workshop. But in order to do that, I just found out we can't really see the chat applet within our own website. So I'm going to just dive into here. Bear with me. I want to show you our screen here. Okay, so if you're on this page and you're seeing this, this is going live now, right? Here we go. Okay, let's get this lovely handsome guy. So this is the chat, a few seconds delayed. Now watch what I'm going to do here, okay? I'm going to go over to YouTube. See this on the bottom right-hand corner? If I move my mouse here, tap on YouTube, okay? And that should open up this whole chat on the YouTube platform. Now you will need to have a YouTube account of some sort, but here is on the right-hand side, you can see you can add chats here, if I'm spelling this right. Let me see if I can spell this right. There you go. And so you can add your questions right here. So if you want to participate more actively instead of just watching passively, you can do that. So without further ado, let me introduce the handsome Heratch. Heratch, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so excited to, if you want to just maybe spend a few moments introducing yourself.
Oh, you did a great job, handsome. That's good enough. That's it. We're done.
So,
no,
thank you so much for coming to do this workshop. The Yamaha Clavinova, I don't know if you guys can kind of split screen over here, but you can see behind me, I've got one. Of course, Heratch has one too. We're going to be talking about Yamaha's CVP 809, their top-of-the-line Clavinova, which is a digital piano and yet so much more. But before I give away and spill all the secrets, I'm going to pass the mic over to Heratch. Heratch, take it away.
Yusan, thank you so much for the opportunity, and on behalf of Yamaha, we really appreciate coming to you virtually. I mean, this is one of my rooms at home, and we have to come. We have to do this somehow, in certain means, and we're doing our best as much as possible to bring you very high quality audio and video. I highly recommend everyone, if they get a chance, to put on a pair of headphones to listen in stereo, because we are broadcasting in stereo, and a lot of these sounds actually will be magnificent listening to them in stereo.
And
as Houston mentioned,
just jump in for
yeah, go
sorry
ahead.
to interrupt you.
Yeah, of course.
But, we haven't done these live streams in such a long time. So
exactly.
Fingers crossed. I hope I have my audio level set up right. But if something doesn't sound right, again,
let us know.
Jump onto YouTube, add a chat, and say, hey, he was too loud. Make him quiet.
Yeah, somebody write that, please, right away.
All right, I'll stop clowning around and pass it on to you.
No, you're doing just fine. I love this interaction too because we are two humans. We love music, so we can go back and forth without a problem. You don't have to. You can interrupt me anytime, and this is part of. I think what makes this so real is we don't have this pre-recorded or pre-produced. This is live, basically.
Absolutely
So
live, and that's
yeah,
why there's interaction not just between you and me, but with you,
The audience.
the audience, the participants. So those of you who
Exactly.
registered, again,
Yeah,
use
so-
YouTube.
Exactly. So if it's okay with you, and I have several cameras, and we'll get to the different different views, so we can get the best video possible, the best angle possible. But I thought first, do you want to say something about you, maybe where they can get this beautiful instrument, or how does that work? So if I want to buy one, what do I do? What do I do? Tell me, Hugh, what do I do if I need to buy one of these?
Well, for those of you who have already pre-registered, on the page that you're on where this video is showing, you'll actually be able to scroll down and you can actually see some of the models that we have available. And drum, can you give me a drum roll? Give me a drum roll, Heratch. Give me a drum roll.
How about piano?
Piano roll? I don't know if you guys have noticed, but we've been thank you. We've been kind of quiet for the past year, kind of sneaking away, doing our gnome work, building a brand new website. I am so excited, and we've been quietly launching it, but now I can say it is officially live. Not only is the website completely beautiful and redesigned, but we have a brand new online store. And in fact, underneath the video that you're watching, if you're watching it on the CunninghamPiano.com website, you can see the products we're talking about, and you can just go right over there and purchase them online, and that's really quite exciting. So you can certainly do that, or of course,
Awesome.
jump to the top of our page and you'll see a locations tab. We have 3 stores. We have a store in King of Prussia. I'm actually in King of Prussia right here. We have a magnificent store in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, and our newest store, which has, I think, the best looking sign of all 3 of us, in Del Mar, Delaware. So 3 great locations throughout the Delaware Valley. We're growing fast, and now with this new online store, there are lots of great options to shop for the pianos that we're going to be talking about, the piano we're going to be talking about tonight.
Awesome, awesome. Well, if I may, a little bit about Yamaha, who we are. I thought we do this via music. And the way I would like to introduce Yamaha to a lot of people, which I'm sure everybody have heard of Yamaha. But what I'm going to do is play a video. And in the video, you will see a lot of Yamaha instrumentation, a lot of historical events within Yamaha. And on top of that, there'll be some music being played. Originally, this was actually created by Yamaha Artist Relations. So this video was scored and conducted and played by professional musicians, high-end composers, basically. And what I've done for tonight is I reconstructed the score. And every sound that you'll hear, the percussion, the timpanis, some of the strings, all of that stuff will actually be coming from the CVP 809. And to make myself useful because I couldn't possibly play all these sounds at the same time, just to make myself useful, I'll be playing a little bit of piano. I'll switch using the registration shortcuts to strings, and then I'll switch it to my favorite, to oohs and ahs. I'll go back to strings, and we'll finish it up with piano. So with that, please allow me to introduce to you Yamaha.
He was a dreamer, a tinkerer of the soul, a maker of the unimaginable. His hands moved to the rhythm of his conviction bigger than the universe has stars. He was a believer, unencumbered by the unknown. He carried his creation into the wild, walking hundreds of miles toward his dream's end. He was the father of who we all are, and all that he was, we carry with us today. For he is the heart of inspiration, and his dream forever changed the world.
So there you go. Already? Sure. Yeah. So I have to be honest, obviously, nothing replaces the acoustic piano action because they're obviously I have one here. In a moment I'll show it to you right now actually. So this is what a grand piano action looks like. There are a lot of moving parts, a lot of mechanism. Now, we at Yamaha, since we actually build real acoustic pianos, it is important for us to give you that feeling as close as possible. So later on in the Clavinova, in this presentation, we're going to talk about the grand touch action in the CVP 809. In a nutshell, this is as close as possible to an acoustic action with all these moving parts. What two benefits of the 809 action? It has counterweights. In other words, every note, every key that is on the 88 keys has a specific weight to create a very linear action from the bottom part. Because if we look inside a piano like a CFX, for example, we have thick strings in the bass register. Gone. Here we go. My mic is back. Sorry. And in the treble side.
I have to apologize. You know, when I was asking you that question, I forgot to unmute myself. So the question was, somebody was asking. In fact, let me throw this back over here.
Oh, I know. I heard the question.
I
Actually.
know you heard the question, but nobody has
Yeah.
asked me. They didn't hear me ask the question. Does the piano
Oh.
keyboard sound like a keyboard? And we started going off on that. So again, continue on, please.
Yeah. So the question: does the Stevie P 809 action, the keys, feel like an acoustic piano? And so I started to talk about how we want to be as close as possible to an acoustic piano by providing two things in the action. Number one, they are wood keys, obviously. The second important thing, it will have every key on the 88 keys has its own specific counterweight. And we're going to talk about that, I hope, in a moment, Houston. And also, it has the longest fulcrum in an action, and that is also another important feeling that you'll get on the action. So you'll be able to play really up in the keys further toward the back of the keys. So yes, it does feel great. It feels fantastic. And then when you transition to an acoustic piano, yes, there is a difference between them, but it is very, very, very close considering this is a digital piano. Yeah.
Feels so great.
Cool.
There's nothing else to say.
Okay, well, that was convincing. Okay, we're done for the day.
Actually,
Sure.
if I can actually maybe make a comment too, the reason why the fulcrum, and because we can here's the thing that we can get a little techie because the technology is amazing, but what Yamaha really strives to do, now Yamaha has been building acoustic pianos since 1900. Many people don't know that.
Yep.
And their experience with acoustic pianos really gives them, I think, the best insight in the industry, how to translate that feeling, that sensation, into a digital piano like the CVP 809. Now, why is the fulcrum so important? Well, again, Heratch, maybe we can agree, but I think when you want to play something, you want to control the softness of something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me, yeah, absolutely. Let me switch to a view that you can see. Okay, so one of the important, the fulcrum allows you to give you a larger sweet spot to where to play the key. In other words, typically think of a seesaw, right? If you have a long fulcrum or long balancing point, it is much easier to play. On the piano, on the CVP 809, because it has the longest fulcrum, the way you play at the front of the keys is equally the same feeling as you play in the back of the keys. Some pieces of music requires you to actually get back in the back of the keys, especially the black keys. So for example, if I do that, right, and now I'm going to get to the back of the keys. See where I'm playing? Right at the back of the keys. The feeling that I get playing at the back of the keys is similar to when I play in front of the keys. And that is important to have because if the fulcrum was short, it's going to be more challenging and it requires more strength to play those notes. Whereas of a long fulcrum, it makes it easier to play just like an acoustic, just like a Yamaha acoustic piano.
Thanks so much for that wonderful explanation.
Yeah,
but you know, of course, the CVP 809, as wonderful as it is as a piano, of course, there is, as we heard in that incredible introduction, you are playing all these different sounds too.
Yeah.
So I'm going to let you take it away. I mean, let's
Sure.
dive in because this instrument does so much.
So much.
Yeah.
I agree. So what you heard, obviously, I couldn't play all of these sounds at the same time, but every sound that you heard came from the CVP 809. But I couldn't resist not to tell you that Yamaha invented this category in 1983 with the YP40, and that's exactly how the Clavinova started, and we never stopped. So it just keeps on growing. We add technology, and we make the best instrument possible at the moment. And I have to mention one last thing before we dive into a lot of fun stuff. We provide the best warranty in the business. When you spend so much money on an instrument like this, I think it's important to get a peace of mind when you purchase an instrument at this price point. It is expensive, in my opinion, and we want to assure you that the warranty that you have with the CVP is in home. Obviously, with COVID around, we have to be careful, but we'll make it happen. But you get 5 years in-home warranty with your permission. So if anything happens to the instrument mechanically or technically, we actually send a qualified technician to your house with your permission, and it will be repaired right on the spot within 5 years. And you, son, I have to admit, this is better warranty than some cars. 5 years, some cars you get 4 years. This is 5 years in-house. Since there's so much to talk about, let's just move on.
Actually, if you don't mind, I want to throw
Yeah.
something out because a gentleman is
for
asking,
it.
Johan DeWitt, let's throw his question up on, I love being able to throw these questions up on the screen. So he's asking,
Go for it.
Love my CVP, but basically stop playing while the CVP has so much to offer. Who can teach me all the options and tricks beyond playing with the many styles? And you and I, before we started the live, we were just talking about this. I don't know if you guys know this, okay, but in fact, a lot of people have noticed, because I usually have been producing a lot of videos. I haven't done so in the last year. I've been making videos in the background. In fact, I'm planning a whole new series specifically on the CVP series, and I'm going to be teaching people how to play songs. And you and I were saying, you know what, we should also add a regular feature where Heratch can join me, and we'll pick a topic, like what about, and we're going to dive into like recording, vocal effects, all the neat little tricks, I think, and we're going to have this. It's part of our regular series. So if you haven't subscribed to our newsletter, you really want to at this point, because in just a few weeks, we're going to start having these weekly videos where you can learn to play songs on the CVP with all the styles, with all these little tips and tricks that Heratch and I are going to cook up for you.
Yeah, and if I may ask, maybe some people will send you a message or registration. It's like, hey, can you cover vocal harmony today? Can you talk about the recording? So this way, it will be relevant to the people who watch your channel and go on your website.
Absolutely.
So it's funny you mentioned the question came up. It's not funny actually. It's kind of cool because we were just talking about it.
know,
Like,
right?
hey, can I participate in your videos and come up once in a while just to show a technical feature? Because we really want to help. Yeah, of course. My pleasure. It will be my pleasure. Definitely. But yes.
Because this piano is a treasure trove of musical imagination. And, we get this, and sometimes we're like, most people are just scratching the surface, and we really want to help people who have these instruments to really appreciate the treasure they have.
Yeah. And Houston, that's another piece of mind, actually, especially when it comes to technology. One of the benefits of the CVP 809 is the technology that it contains, that it has. It is the best that we have thus far. But the best part about it is it gives you so much to learn in the next 10 years. There's always something new. Actually, today I was talking to Houston and I just showed him something new. It's like, I didn't know about that. It does that.
So cool.
So, we're like our phones. We only know 10% of what it does, basically, right? So I think by coming to you via virtually with Houston, it'll be awesome to be able to show you some of the cool things that this is capable of. Bluetooth, vocal harmony recording, creating your own styles, etc., and so much more.
And most of all, having fun, having so much fun. But Heratch, let's dive deeper. Go ahead and just tell us more about what this amazing instrument can do.
It is a piano, right? Obviously. So we, cannot escape without discussing some piano sounds first. So that is our top of the line Yamaha CFX. It represents over 20 years of development. It takes about 3 years to make one from the moment it's a tree to an actual handcrafted piano. And the reason I mentioned the CFX because we have a high definition, high resolution recording of a CFX in the Clavinova, and it will always be in tune. Now, if you ever thought about this, it is really difficult. Even if you have an acoustic piano, it is really difficult to mic a piano and to get a good sound recording. And I dare to say that sometimes if you record on the CVP and play it back and somebody closes their ears, they will have very difficult time distinguishing this is not or this is a digital piano unless they are very, very expert. So the quality of CFX tone that you'll get in the CVP is absolutely superb. And please allow me to demonstrate a few passages for you so the audience can hear that. So here's the CFX. And by the way, it is really expensive instrument. It's close to $200,000, I believe, by now. So it is awesome to have this instrument available at a single press of a shortcut button on the front panel. So here is the CFX. And by the way, you can see me in the middle of the CVP screen right here. You can see that? Yeah. So here we go. CFX. So there was just a small sample of, I tried to play a range of dynamics because this instrument is very dynamically capable from pianissimo to triple forte. And at the end, you heard when I dug into the bass notes here, it rang for a long time. It is just a beautiful instrument to play, and you get a high definition resolution CFX piano sound in the Clavinova. Now, the other important piano, it would be the Bösendorfer Imperial. So this is another special instrument. Well, you see, number one, it has 9 extra keys, and it has a very different sound actually than the CFX. So it's great for, it was actually designed for the romantic era of compositions. And the best part is you get both of best worlds. You get the CFX, which I explained earlier, and you get the Bösendorfer. And here's how the Bösendorfer sounds like. So again, I'm not playing a specific composition, just a basic improvisation. Last but not least is the C7. So the C7, Huson, and the audience, it is the most recorded piano in modern recording history. It is suitable for pop, jazz, Latin, and everything in between. That particular piano that you see actually in the video, that picture with those 2 microphones, is the exact piano that Adele used to record Someone Like You in a studio down the street from where I live in Santa Monica. That is the exact piano that was used to record that song. And to make a cool presentation for you, I have a very small snippet of her vocal, a -1, and then you are going to hear the C7 on top of her vocals. And for copyright reasons, and we don't want to be kicked off quickly from this presentation, I will basically, instead of playing the piano, I'm going to play just a simple pad on top of it. right? Which is basically right here, right, the few chords. But the C7 piano that you'll hear is actually from the CVP 809. And with that, here's the CVP 809 C7 demo.
I heard that you settled down, that you found a girl and you're married now. I heard that your dreams came true. Guess she gave you things I didn't give to you.
So yeah, that was a simple demo. Another cool example of how the C7 is used is with a nice percussive arrangement.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
Yeah, so a few examples of different pianos, and the best part is you get all of these inside the Clavinova CVP 809, and they're very, very different pianos.
Yeah, just a little
Oh,
bit
yeah.
of Philadelphia pride here. Our very own, well, Philadelphia-based pianist Eric Wortham. It was just my colleague was posting this. He was the pianist that played for Adele on. So see.
So
you got
does
a
he
little
know
bit-
that?
Yeah, with this, he played on that C7. So how cool is
yeah.
that?
Yeah, it is,
Oh,
yeah.
this is so neat. So thanks so much for sharing that bit of information. That C7 sound, the CFX sound, the Bissendorfer
Yeah.
sound, they're all part and parcel of the CVP 809. How cool is that?
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah. So I thought, since we're talking about the piano right now, is to talk about some of the cool technologies that why the piano sounds so good, or what are some of the cool technology that are related to a piano. So first, let's talk about piano room. So since the CVP has a lot of cool stuff, sometimes you just want to go to a sanctuary. Sometimes you just want to go to a specific place and just play the piano and not be bothered with anything else. We dedicated a specific shortcut button right here on the front panel. It's called Piano Room. Once you press it, it dims all the lights on the CVP, so you're not distracted by any extra LEDs that they don't need to be turned on. Now you're focused on the touch screen. Since we're talking about the touch screen, it is an extension to what you're used to with your smart devices. In fact, to make the point, you know what this is, right, Husan? It's a stylus, right? So in order to just make a nice, more elegant presentation, I'm going to use a stylus instead of covering the screen with my hand. So what can you do when you're inside the piano room? Number one, if you touch on the piano, you can choose the piano that you want to hear. So this is the CFX, this is the Busendorfer, this is the C7, and by the way, right, there's a U1. It's most popular, most sold piano, Yamaha piano.
That upright
But
piano,
once you
yeah.
go to, once you go to the piano, once you select the piano that you want, you touch away, and then the piano comes back in the center. So now you can do a few things. Number one is you can open and close the lid. And of course, you can do this with your finger, of course, I mean here, right? And closing and opening the lid gives you different tone quality to the piano. So I'm going to try to do this. I'm not coordinated up and down and sideways, so I'll do my best. So I'm going to try to close the lid while I play a simple arpeggio pattern. So here we go.
Oh, that's cool.
it is almost the same effect as if I put my hand in front of my mouth and slowly, slowly remove it. You get a much more clarity into the sound. Now, the other thing we can do once we're in the piano room is change the environment that we're in. And what I mean by environment is the space that the piano is in. So I'm going to play, right now, it is in a hall. Now I'm going to play a staccato chord, and then I'm going to switch it to the cathedral. And I hope you're listening through headphones because you're definitely going to hear the different space that the piano is in. So this is concert hall. One more time. Now cathedral.
Ooh.
Yeah. The sustain or the echo or the reverb in the room is still present.
Can you do that?
And you can choose
again?
from.
Yeah, just one
Oh,
more
sure.
time. Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
so here is the concert hall. Here's the cathedral.
Very cool.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's another thing you can do inside the piano room. Finally, this is a little bit more in depth, just because we were talking about that we want to teach everybody how to use our pianos. There's an icon in the upper right corner. And sometimes you practice with metronome, right? We all used to having tick, 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 tick metronome going on. And we put an interesting feature here. If you touch on the upper right corner, you get a virtual band. Consists of 3 members, a bass, a drummer, and a guitar player. You can turn them on and off as you wish, so you can just have a drummer or a bass or a guitar by themselves. But the idea is it gets you quickly to enjoy playing or practicing with some backing tracks. And here's what I mean. All you have to do is just touch the start. Or if you play full chords, the rest of the band will join. Of course, there are different genres, not just 8-beat ballad. There is 6/8 slow rock, etc., etc. But the idea is, once you're in the piano room, you can do so much. If you want them to leave, if you want the virtual band to leave, you just touch on the upper right corner. Now you're back to the center of the piano. So that's what piano room is all about. What do you think, Yusan?
It's really cool. I'm going to throw up a question that I just
Go for it.
saw somebody asking. Now, this is concerning an older CVP. This person says he has
Yep.
a CVP 605. And he's basically asking, are there any styles that will follow me instead of me following the rhythm of the styles? And so what we just saw Heratch doing, he played the chords, but there, of course, the band is playing a rhythm, and they'll
Yeah.
change, you can change the rhythm. And I have one answer, but I'm kind of curious to see what your
Yeah.
answer might be to that, because there certainly is a way with the CVP
Yes, there is a
809.
way.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, actually, all of our instruments, there is a way. What we call it is full keyboard. In other words, typically, the instrument is divided into section. Kind of your left, where you play the chords, right? Well, if you are in the piano room, it does it automatically, as you saw, right? Once I'm in the piano room and I turn on that virtual band, it works just like that. But if you have a model that does not have a piano room, or you don't have a virtual band, when you select a style, for example, right? Here's a style. So now this area is designated for playing the chords, versus the right area, you play basically the melody line, right? But if you go to the menu, and this is available for sure, if you go to style setting, I will change it's not in style setting, it is in, let me find it, keyboard style. I think it's going to be fingering mode, split and fingering mode. That's exactly what it's going to be. Under fingering mode, what that means is the type of interaction of your fingers to the keyboard. What is it? Right now I have it in AI fingering. One of the other choices is all full keyboard. And now watch, if I play the style, see, changed chords. Yeah, does that make sense?
Yes, although I think I have a little more sophisticated answer.
Sure, go for it.
So let me
Yes.
let me repeat Bill's question. His question was, are there styles that will follow me rhythmically instead of me following the rhythm of the style? And the answer to that is yes, it's a little more sophisticated, and it has to do with this turning on the guide feature. So maybe that's the answer I was going to give. Maybe we can get into that a little bit later when we demonstrate the follow the lights feature. But and then, and then I think that we can
So the follow, we'll get to that for sure. But you're right, 100%. It will wait for you to play the next note. However, the style now, I mean, it's playing in time, and you have to decide whether you want to use the left hand or the whole keyboard to input the chords that you want the style to play. But once we get to the song, yes, it will follow your performance behavior. Absolutely, and we'll get to that. Now, in the magic of my space, I brought a CFX for you guys. So I have a CFX in front of me. And the reason I brought a CFX in this bedroom, I'm just kidding. It's not real. It's not. Look, if I play, the hammers don't move. But did I get you, son?
You had me completely fooled.
No way. You're messing with me.
Yes,
You're
I'm
messing. You knew this
you.
is. Yeah. You know this is a picture. You knew that. But that is actually inside our CFX concert piano. And the reason I'm showing you this picture because even though we have a high definition, high resolution piano samples inside the Clavinova, we also have soul to that piano sound. And what I mean by that is when you play a Yamaha acoustic piano, you hear a lot of things sing inside the piano. The rim, the soundboard, the legs, the casters even transmit sound through the ground. Everything in the piano speaks or projects sound. And if we just take a simple sample in vacuum, it will have no soul, basically. It will have no character whatsoever. So with Yamaha's technology, we introduced something called VRM, Virtual Resonance Modeling. And what it does is it recreates the sophistication behavior of an acoustic piano. This is similar to the earlier question. Hey, does it feel like an acoustic piano? Because we want this digital instrument to sound like an acoustic piano. That's the ultimate goal, right? So we developed VRM to do the following. So if you look carefully inside an acoustic piano, there are no felts in the upper register. And basically the notes sustain on their own. There are no dampers, basically. But when you depress the sustain pedal, the other felts, the other dampers on the strings, they are lifted. Therefore, it creates a board resonance. And I'm going to demonstrate that. And the best part is when you go and see Hugh-san in person, ask him to do this demonstration actually on an acoustic piano, and then go to the Clavinova and do the same demonstration. You can hear they're exactly the same. So here is without, and there is a camera on the upper left corner. You can see my foot on the sustain pedal. So I'm just going to play the arpeggio without the sustain pedal first, and then I'm going to play the same thing with the sustain pedal. Pay attention to the resonance that happens when I press the sustain pedal. So without. With.
Ooh.
Without. With. Awesome. We're dissecting now, right? We want to, we're putting this piano under a microscope, and I think it's important for the audience to know how realistic this piano sounds. The other test that you can do in the store is on an acoustic piano, you hold a note or notes like a C major chord the way I'm playing it right now. By the way, you didn't even hear me play these notes. I'm going to tell you why in just a moment. And now, on an acoustic piano, strike the note above, the octave above E, for example, and you are going to hear the upper harmonics, and then do the same thing on a CVP. It will have the same. So here is without, and now here is with. And now when I strike the E note, you're going to hear the upper harmonics.
It's very
so
subtle.
One more time.
Yeah, if you have to have headphones to really hear this.
It is subtle. The piano is not radical. The piano does not produce radical sound because these are little nuances. Remember, I said it's a soul. We don't want the soul to overcome the principal piano sound. These little nuances, like what I talked about, the board resonance and the upper harmonics when you strike a note while you're holding the note down, they have to be subtle, because if they are overwhelming, there's something wrong with the sound. But you don't have to think about these. The piano automatically recreates those two important piano authentic sound that is you would normally find in an acoustic piano. Awesome. Last feature about the piano sound is binaural. So binaural, we knew at some point, while you have this instrument, you are going to use headphones, and headphones are not comfortable whatsoever, because we are human, right? So we hear sound, and our brains automatically they decipher distance, height, left and right, and depth, right, Husan? So it just happens naturally. So if we just make a piano sound and put on your headphones, it will sound okay, but it will just come out left and right, and that's not pleasant. We're a music company, so we want you to enjoy the instrument when you have headphones. That's why we use very highly specialized microphones. These are tens of thousands of dollars microphones that when you connect headphones in the CVP 809, the CFX piano sound will switch automatically to something called a binaural piano sound. It is very different than the CFX that you hear through the speakers of the instrument. And that binaural sound, when you put on headphones, it will give you the sensation that the sound has now depth and character, not just left and right, right? You get front and back and up and down. So you get a more immersive sound. And in fact, again, this is a third demo that you should do with Husan when you visit him in the store, is, hey, can I try this whole thing, binaural thing? And the moment you put on headphones, you're going to say, hey, can you hear that? You're going to think, actually, everybody can hear you, but in fact, you're the only one who can hear.
The coolest
This
thing
is
about the
great.
binaural thing, and as Heratch was mentioning, our ears, and when you're sitting at the piano, the notes to the along your left side will reach your left ear sooner than your right ear, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Right side, the right ear before the left ear. And when you put these headphones on in binaural mode, it really feels like you're in a three-dimensional. It's hard to describe, but once you experience it, people they're in shock. Like they can't believe it.
Yeah.
Sounds and feels so real. It's quite amazing.
But we did that for a purpose, Husan. And the purpose of that is we realize kids, we realize adults, we realize everybody at some point in their home at 2 o'clock in the morning. I know you do this at 3 o'clock in the morning. You get up, you play your headphones, and stop playing. I do it all the time. No, but we want everyone to enjoy hearing a beautiful sound, not just from the speaker, the amazing sound system that the instrument have, but more important, when you connect headphones. Because when we have children learning piano, and certainly when typically I tell parents, the reason we put headphone connection on our instrument, people think is so the kids don't bother the parents. Actually, it's the other way around, is we don't want the parents to bother the children when they're learning, right? Because when they're watching TV or cooking in the kitchen, that extra noise distracts the child from enjoying the instrument. So by providing headphone connection, you'll be able to do that. We took it a step further by creating the binaural technology in our piano. So it is more immersive, and they get drawn into the instrument to play as much as possible. And that's what we want from our kids, to spend time actually on the instrument. And not just kids, of course, adults too as well. But I'm focusing a little bit more on that philosophy of kids. So yeah, that's so 3 technologies too, just worth mentioning one last time. One would be the piano room. The other one would be the binaural, and the VRM, what we talked about. Cool. So the sound, we heard the sound sounds awesome. Now we cannot escape from talking about the action. And this is where the earlier question came up, the grand touch action. So as we talked about earlier about a couple of things. So here's a piano action in front of me without breaking things. I hope things, yeah. Yep. So there are a couple of important things to... Oh, this
turn it
backwards.
around.
Here we go. Yeah, I'm trying. I have a lot of things going on here, son. So there's something called counterweight right here. And this is what Husan said earlier, the fulcrum point or the seesaw point or the balance point, right? Every piano has this. Now, the longer the fulcrum is, this is what I was talking about earlier, the easier it is to play anywhere on the key because you have all that extra distance versus if this was closer, it'll be difficult to play in this area versus this area. So that's what fulcrum is. But the counterweight are super, super, super important. When I said earlier I played a chord and you didn't even hear me play the chord because these counterweight create a very linear balance between all the notes, and it's responsible for a few things. Number one, so here's the counterweight actually in the action, as you can see right there. And what that does, it allows you to, any piano, any action can play fortissimo really well. That's not a problem. The challenge is when you try to play softer dynamics like pianissimo. So when you play soft, you want to be able to control that dynamic, and the counterweight is responsible for that. The other benefit of having counterweight is the bounce of the key. So it's one thing that you control the down stroke, but also how fast that key bounces up because it's important to do, repetitions or trills, right? So that is a huge benefit of having counterweight in every key, and every key has a different amount of weight in the key, and that takes time. It takes manufacturing process. That's why one of the reasons why this is a higher price point than the rest of the Clavinovas is because of the grand touch action with counterweight. And the fulcrum, as I said right here, you saw it on the action, it's much long, which then it allows you to play up in the keys with ease. And finally, about the action, it's got the synthetic ivory on the top. They are wood keys, and it's ebony wood on the top. And these are textured. So one of the things is absorbs moisture. So that means when you play for a while, I never realized pianists sweat that much actually when they play, and especially if with lights going on, they do. And the last thing you want to do is reach out with your pinky to play a black note and you slip and you can actually damage your fingers, and that's not good. So the black keys, they are textured to help you land on the key with confidence, basically. Finally, are the pedaling. So on an acoustic piano, the sustain pedal has a mechanical feeling that you feel it's a point. It's literally something that you have to try. And again, this is another thing that you can try when you see Hugh-san in the store is, hey, let me feel the damper pedal and then feel it on the CVP. You'll realize, and this is bespoke to the 809. It's not and the 809 GP is not available on the other Clavinovas. What it is, you'll feel when I'm pressing the pedal down, there is a mechanical point, and that mechanical point will be necessary to do half pedaling. So a lot of compositions require to do half pedaling, and then to have a sensation feeling to where that point is important. And as you can see on the graph on the left-hand side, it looks exactly similar to a grand piano action. Make sense?
Makes sense. Now, I want to just jump in, if you don't mind. We have another great question that came in. Tom is asking, and again, I apologize, we're jumping around lots of subjects.
Do not, Hugh-san, you don't have to apologize. We're having a good time, so please, go for it.
Lots of fun. So, I mean, we've established, I think, that the CVP 809 is, a lot of thought has gone into making this feel and sound like an authentic concert grand piano, acoustic piano. But I'm going to throw this question out again. This person is asking, for chord-ignorant people like myself, does the 809 have intuitive chord playing by just striking the first note of the chord? Now, you demonstrated what we call AI fingering, which is great for people like you and me. We've taken our music theory classes. We know all of our chord structures. But for other people that don't want to take 5 years of music theory in college, is there a way to just play one note and just have the CVP 809 recognize what that chord is? Would you mind taking a few moments to talk about that?
Absolutely. Really so I never took a lesson, FYI, in piano, and I learned how to play chords from the CVP. So I'm going to show you two things in regard to that. So number one, I'm going to use the stylus just so I can make it more elegant. If I go to the menu and I go back to that fingering mode that we talked about earlier, one of the choices would be, let me see what it is, single finger mode. And it tells you the description what it is. So now if I play a single note, here's a 7th chord, minor, right? So now, with a single finger, you can play major chords.
So yeah, just to clarify, one finger will play a major chord, and then two fingers will
Half
play
a step below that.
seventh chord, and then a white key and a black key. Ooh, there you go. Yeah. Very cool.
So here's a.
Now let's
Right.
play a minor chord. No, the left hand would have to play a white key and a black key. No, left hand.
There we go.
No, black key below, to the left. No, white key and black, there you go.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's minor.
Yeah. Gotcha.
There
Yeah.
we go.
Yeah, so you have three positions basically. You have a single note, minor, and then seventh.
That's it, there you go.
Yeah. Now, I have to admit, it's difficult for me to play this way, but it is suitable for somebody who's looking to play with a single finger.
And
now,
actually, I'm a little preview. Part of what I'm going to do when I'm going to be going through my new video lessons series is I'm going to be using the single finger. I mean, I'll go through all the techniques, but this is really great for people who just want to play for fun. It's hard enough to play with one hand, and sometimes having something to help you with your chords with just one finger or two fingers, it's a lot easier to learn. And this is actually a system that Yamaha developed from their earliest Clavinovas, and it's just
correct.
They've been very consistent for 30 years, so it's an established system of playing chords on Clavinovas.
Yeah. So the way I learned chords, and one of the reasons is because I want to show off playing some of these. Like if on the screen, it tells you what chords you're playing, right? Right here on the screen, as you can see, it tells you what chords you're playing. And sometimes I want to show off that I know to play sophisticated chords, even though I have no idea what chord that is, right? But in order to achieve these type of chords, I went to menu, and if I go to chord tutor, now look at that. Now you can choose the key that you want to play the chord, and now you have the color. You have the color, and it displays for you on the keyboard how to play. For example, if I want to play, say, C minor 7 flat 5. Wow. Okay, so wow. So if I play the style now, there you go. So that's how I actually learned how to, spread my hand across the chords to play chords, is by learning from this system right here, because not only I'm learning the names, I can hear it right away, right, which is kind of nice, but also on the instrument, it shows me the inversion to what's the best way to do it. The instrument is so smart, Hugh-san, so guitar players, this is important actually. So guitar players, piano, you play C minor like that. But the voicing of a guitarist is not like that at all. But the instrument is intelligent enough that when you play a chord, no matter what inversion you do, right, it will play the guitar part correctly with the correct voicing as if it's a guitar. In fact, I can demonstrate that for you. So if I go and mute everything else except for the guitars, so this is B flat add 9. Let me bring up the volume so we can hear it. So no matter how you play the chord with your left hand, whether it's a single finger or two fingers or three fingers, the guitar, which is very important to have a convincing style, right? Backing tracks. The guitar is very important to sound correctly. Otherwise, you can tell it's fake, right? So that's why when you play on the CVP 809, no matter how you play the chord, whether it's single mode or the multi-finger mode, the guitar will always sound correct in terms of voicing on the guitar. I hope that little explanation makes sense.
Absolutely. I hope you don't mind. I'm going to just jump in with a little bit of history. George Gershwin, I don't know if you know this, but he learned to play with watching a player piano move its keys. He also didn't learn reading music. He learned by imitating what the piano. So when you're describing that this CVP 809 is teaching you how to play those chords, that's no different than what George Gershwin did. So for those purists who say, "Oh, you need to take music theory," you know what? Some of the world's greatest songwriters learned using these technologies very, very similar to what the CVP 809 is doing in terms of being a mechanical tutor, as you could say.
That is a great insight. Thank you so much for sharing that. Really appreciate it. But yeah, actually, that's exactly how, I managed to have fun playing certain chords is by, um, learning from the system itself how to do that. Now, if you don't mind, let's move on to recording
Yes,
because
please, yes.
I think there are a few things. I'm gonna plug my device into power because I'm running out of power. 1 second.
You're running out of
We don't wanna
power,
do-
and actually, to be honest, while you're demonstrating, I'm gonna switch the battery in my camera because my camera's dying over here. So you take it over from here, and I'll come back in just
Okay.
a second, okay?
You got it. So I'm going to talk about recording. And one of the things you can do in recording is number one is you archive your performances. So it's important that we have recordings, just like a painter. Well, actually, even better, just like these days, everybody they have a cell phone with cameras. Everybody wants the best camera in a phone. And one of the reasons we want that is for us to capture a beautiful moment, whether it's a family, whether our dogs. I take pictures of my dogs all the time, but it's important that we capture a beautiful moment because later on we can watch it and relive it again. So in the CVP 809, you can actually record. And the recording function actually is good for two important reasons. One, what I said, it's for sentimental reasons. You can always have a recording of what you created. But more important also, if you're taking lessons or your kids are taking lessons, becomes the lesson hub, if I may. Meaning the teacher can come in, they can record the lesson, and instead of using your phone to record their lesson, you can actually use the CVP 809 to actually record the lesson. And then long after the teacher left, you can still learn the lesson long after they left. So those are the two my favorite reasons why would you want to record is for sentimental reasons, so you can relive the moment just like we take pictures with our cell phones. And the other thing is to actually for educational purpose. So Hugh's son, for example, can create a lesson for you if you purchase a CVP 809, and he can record that for you, take it home, and you can continue learning that lesson without having your son right next to you, which is also could be replicated if it's a teacher. So let me demonstrate how to record. There's a shortcut button. You press record. There are two ways to record. One way is to record audio, which is great if you're traveling from California to New York. You can actually hear it without having that Clavinova in the back of your car. It's audio. You can put it in your car and it will come out of the sound, the speakers of your car. Obviously, we don't want to carry a Clavinova with us when we travel, but that's what the audio is great for. And you can also convert it to MP3 and email it to the grandparents so they can see and hear how their grandkids are performing. The other way is what we call it MIDI. And MIDI is basically, it captures the keystroke that you play on the instrument. Think of it as writing with pen and pencil. Pen is audio, it's almost permanent. Whereas if you're writing with a pencil, you can always go back and fix things. So for demonstration purposes today, I'm going to use the MIDI recording. And so here's an example of a recording, and then I'll tell you a couple of important things about it. So here we go.
That was
Okay,
a lovely
well-
last note. Wait a minute.
The last note, right? Yeah. But that happens all the time. We make mistakes, right? So let's first hear it to see if it actually recorded it. Done. Okay. Here's a cool thing you can do. You can touch on score. It will display for you what you actually just played. Here we go. And yes, you can print this out. You can actually save it on a USB drive, connect it to any notation software that you have on your computer, and then a printer, press print, and you just print it out your creation. Now, another cool thing you can do is we can fix things, just like what I said, writing with pencil. You can erase and rewrite what you just did. So let me show you how to fix that last beautiful note that I played. So if I exit, I'm going to touch the stylus again, use the stylus. It's kind of cool. If I go to Song Creator, I can touch on the page because I want to look. Now I can see nothing except for if I go to the event filter, there is a way to allow the instrument to show you or not show you, hide or unhide things. I'm gonna actually hide. I'm gonna show everything that I played. So let me select everything, and hit OK. So now it shows me everything that I did, everything I played. Right, every note. Not only what note I played, also what dynamic. At what dynamics I should play that note. For example, this note I can simply change. Let me go back to a note. So I can change it to a pianissimo or fortissimo. So if I made a mistake on the dynamic, I can fix that. But what I want to show to you how to fix that mistake. So let me go to the last bar of the performance, and let's. There you go. That's the note. So I'm going to highlight where it says A sharp 5, and you just can simply, you can fix it obviously with a dial, but
A
why?
flat, A
Just
flat,
play
A flat.
A flat 5. Sorry. And then
Thank you. The curse of perfect pitch.
Thank you, sir. Yes, thank you, sir. Yep. So now I simply played the correct note, and then just to prove the point where it's, you're funny. I just
I'm
prove the point
annoying.
that
I'm very annoying.
no, like you did something wrong. Fix it. Well, that's what we just did. We're fixing it. So let's prove we actually fixed that note. There you go. Right? And of course, it gets fixed in the notation as well if you read notes. Now, as I mentioned, the other important part about this, and you can record thousands of these and save them and save them and save them. And there's an additional external USB drive that you can connect, and you can save millions of these files if you want. Now, the other cool feature that you can do is for learning purposes. Let me choose a new menu, a new MIDI file, and the teacher comes over. Right? And of course, it shows the notation. That's the performance of the teacher.
So
and then
we're seeing an interesting OBS screen. Do you want to?
Oh,
yeah, that's all right.
You know what? No worries. Thanks for that.
Yeah,
because
no
I have a lot of things going on. Here we go.
There you go.
Fixed.
Sure.
Yeah, because when I'm moving the action, I accidentally hit something. Happens all the time. Thank you for the bringing that up to me.
worries.
So now, as you can see the notation on the screen, and of course we just heard it. Awesome. So this is great for learning. So the teacher comes over, records the lesson, and the student, basically relives that moment and by practicing, which takes me to the next feature that is tied into the lesson. And this is what Hugh-san was talking about earlier, is follow lights. So we're going to try a technology that Hugh-san and I worked on. Hopefully it's going to work today. We'll find out in just a moment. So I'm going to switch to, in fact, to make this, I'm going to choose one of the MIDI files that we have. And here we go. It's the theme from Jurassic Park. You guys all heard it, right? So if I touch on score, I see the score, right? Now, let's see if this works. What do you think? It worked, Hugh-san. Look at that.
Look at that.
Okay, so let me explain what's going on here before we start. So on the top of the screen, you see the notation, and I put the keyboard in the middle so you can actually see, my fingers right here, right? So it's kind of cool. And this flying over camera is going to show the important feature of follow light. This strip right here, this section of the instrument, has LEDs above every note. There's a black LED. There's a red LED and there's a green LED, meaning is if it's a white note or if it's a black note. So now when I play the file, the song, the MIDI file, two things gonna happen. The lights on the strip right here is gonna guide me to which notes I play. And just like what Hugh-san said earlier, it's going to wait for you to play the note. And if you play the wrong note, it's not going to move forward till you play that correct note. So this is a great way for learning. Anybody can learn a song. So have you ever seen the movie Ratatouille, Hugh-san?
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay, you remember that scene when the rat, French now, the rat goes under the rat goes under the bridge, and he's so hungry he opens the book, and for the figment of his imagination, Chef Gustavo shows up and tells him anybody can cook. And related to that is with the follow lights, we believe that anybody can play. Anyone can play, no matter what age, any age, anyone. Learn music, not know music, whether you have music background, whether you're anybody basically can play. And let me demonstrate how that works before I play it. I have a lot of synthesizers from Yamaha because that's what I do. I know things what Yamaha do. My wife never touches any of that stuff. Guitars, never touches any of that stuff. I showed her how to use follow light. This is the first time that I see actually my wife sitting down on a Clavinova. She knows where to find songs now, and then she picks a song and she plays the song. And let me show you how. So this is Jurassic Park. Not only you can play the notes, but it gives you backing tracks to make it more immersive experience. So allow me to demonstrate. So you see the bouncing ball bouncing above the note. And let's see what happens in a moment. Oh,
Ooh,
what is
there's
that?
a light. Look at that.
What is that? What is that? So what does that tell me? I should play that note. So here we go. Let me see if I can do that. Here we go. Whoa. Okay. Now what? Now what? Oh, a green one. So, okay, that makes sense now. So the green light is for the black keys, and the red light is for the white keys. Okay, that seems to be straightforward. And now, you see, it's waiting for me. It's not doing anything. Even if I play the wrong note. Nope, that's the wrong note. Let's play the right note. Ooh. Oh, look at the strings coming in. At my pace, I don't have to hurry. And if it stays on the same note, that means you have to play it again. Oh, all the way here. Oops. Oh, strings are coming in. Ooh. All the way. Whoa. I mean, how fun was that?
That camera angle is so cool.
You like that?
I love that. I think that's
That's
the
awesome.
best view of Follow the Lights I've ever seen.
Oh, thank you so much. And you know, we try our best to make a meaningful presentation here. So, what you saw the follow lights is very simple. You choose a song or a lesson, right? Remember what I said? You can record the lesson. So no, actually, the lesson will also be follow light, and it will wait, so anybody can actually learn a lesson now, right? And so the follow lights allows anybody to play. Anybody can play. This is great for kids. When if a family wants to come and see Hugh's son in the store, bring the family, bring the kids with you, and Hugh's son will actually turn on this Jurassic Park theme. They are going to go crazy about this. They're gonna have a great time. Like,
Well,
oh,
the boys
let me
will go
play this one.
crazy. The girls may want to say, play Let It Go. There you go.
There you go. But you have that option,
Yes,
right?
yes.
But here is my take on follow light. I understand it's fun. I think anybody can play music, but I think the most important thing that we do is to bring the family together.
Yeah.
So it's a great moment for the parents and the children. The entire family can sit around this instrument, and they all learn how to play music. So I get goosebumps right now because it's just a beautiful moment for family to bond. You know, parents usually are not the same on the same level as their kids. Their kids are on a different level. Maybe their parents don't play. This is a neutral instrument that both people, both humans, sit down and they both are faced with the same challenge, playing music. And with follow lights, it makes it fun, it makes it easy, and anybody can play. So that's follow light.
Cool. Very, very cool. So what other amazing things can we dive into that kind of gets more into the amazing capabilities of this instrument?
Okay. Whenever you see my thing
back to
keeps switching, it's actually, you know what it is? It's my battery on my mouse is dying. Yeah, so it's, what can I do?
Tech issues, right?
One more thing that we have to change is the mouse.
Right.
Great. Okay. So, the instrument doesn't have just piano sounds, right? So it has a lot more instrument. In fact, in the Yamaha video that you saw, you certainly saw all the instrumentation in the video. And for the time's sake, because I'm I'm looking at the time, I have a great time, by the way. We can do this for hours, but I have to be respectful to Hugh-san's time. I'm going to show a few examples of how cool some of these voices are. And because we are broadcasting in stereo, if I choose one of the electric pianos, here we go.
Ooh. I love that effect, the going back and forth both ears with the headphones on.
Yeah. And this is what we try to do.
Cool.
You like that, huh? I appreciate that you're liking that, because we put a lot of effort into making this sound good for you guys. But here are a couple of examples of instrumentation. So here is a concert guitar. You know, let's do a flamenco guitar and watch my foot.
Ole!
So these, so I can bend.
Ole!
So cool.
So these pedals affect the sound other than the piano. So we know this is a damper pedal or sustain pedal. This is sostenuto pedal, and this is the soft pedal. That's for the piano. But when you select other piano, other than the piano sound, it's not to do magic. So let me show you a couple of things. Here is, for example, a solo violin. Now we have a technology called super articulation. Remember, Hugh-san, when I said the VRM is the soul of a piano sound? Super articulation creates a very authentic and realistic pitched instrument, such as a violin, flugelhorn, a guitar, what you heard, like the bends. But let me demonstrate that with the guitar, with the violin, to make the case. Watch how I'm gonna play. I'm not pushing any buttons. It is just simply how I play. So, what was going on there? If I connect note, I get legato. So just like a real instrument, there are no it's kind of kind of blends in. So connecting notes. Here's legato. Here is marcato. Every note is marked. Right? All what I did, instead of connecting, I separated them. If I play octave, I get something called glissando. Not just up, I get glissando down. If I hold a note, I get very realistic trill. If I move up the trill, I get something called portamento, meaning the notes are kind of slurred together in a way. Right? So this is the technology that we have. You look mesmerized, you son.
Well, okay. Look, I work with somebody who, for 20 years, had a $6 million Del Gesù violin. So I'm a little picky in terms of violin sounds. So, but
Okay,
having said that, not bad, not bad. I like the effects.
Awesome. And there are more actually. So it's not, I'll move on in a moment to like a flugelhorn, give you kind of an audition of that, how that sounds. Now, if you don't know how to play a certain instrument, like for example, if I go to organ and you know what, I don't know how to play a combo organ. we provided you with a shortcut to actually hear a demonstration to how that instrument is played. So here is what I mean. And you can stop it. So every instrument has its own demonstration that you can select and just hear what it does to get an idea. Cool. Next, it's going to combine two things in one in this part. So I'm going to combine one of the other super articulation voices and a style. What is a style first? So a style are just like what you saw in the piano room. Instead of just 4 musicians, you're going to get 8. So you have percussionist, a drummer, bass, guitar, another guitar, electric piano. So it's more elaborate, right? So a few things we can do. I'm going to use my left hand to play the chords, and I'm going to use my right hand to play a simple improvisation melody. So here is, for example, a cool 8-beat ballad. Here's another example of a style does not have to contain drums. It could be just piano. So in this next demo, half of the song I'm going to do just a piano cha-cha, and right in the middle I'm going to press one of the registration, one of these shortcuts. It's going to switch to a rock and roll cha-cha. And here's what I mean. 3. Here we go. Ready? And this is just an intro. Another example would be, for example, if you want to do jazz. And here is another example of super articulation. How about that, Houston? Are you picking about clarinets as well?
No, that is so cool. Listen,
That's so cool.
Can I interrupt this because we got a great question from someone who's asking. Now, question: the question reads: Question: Are this Yamaha can playback MIDI files? I guess the question basically is: Can these CVP 809 play regular MIDI files?
Absolutely, yes. In fact, all the songs that are in there, the Jurassic part that are played, is a MIDI file.
So it doesn't have to be included in an instrument, but you can import other MIDI files too, right?
In fact, if you go to YamahaMusicSoft.com, there are plethora, thousands of MIDI files that you can purchase and download and in this instrument, and you don't have to do anything. Just save it on a USB drive, put the USB drive in, touch on where it says song in this area, and your USB drive will show up in this area, and then the song that you downloaded will be available in Pages. And then just select one, you press play, and you're good to go. And if you want to learn the guide mode that I showed you earlier in Jurassic part, once you go to, let's pick something up really quick again. So here's What a Wonderful Word, for example. And if I go to the score, I touch on this note right here. Oh, sorry. Come on, go back to score. Right here. And here is where I can turn on and off the guide mode if I want to utilize the guide mode for me to wait, right? So you're able to access any MIDI file, whether your friends, the teacher, when it records, it's recorded in MIDI file. So yes,
and that's really
absolutely.
Cool. And you can turn that guide mode on, not just for the preloaded songs, but anything that you even record.
Oh yeah. Of course,
Very
of course.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah. Now the one cool demo of styles is you could also have accompaniment piano playing with your chords with your left hand.
Oh, cool.
So here's an example. I'm just going to improvise. This is a Bosendorfer piano and then some piano. Here we go. This is just an intro. I can change the complexity by using one of the variations. Here we go.
That's so cool.
How cool is that?
Wait a minute, that's cheating.
It's like having
That is
5 pianos
so
at the
cool.
same time.
I love it.
But it put, you know, the way it put a smile on your face, you son, that's exactly what we want. We want to put a beautiful smile on people's face because we want them to enjoy it.
Now I've got.
So to
if you don't mind,
Yeah,
I have one
go
more
for
great
it.
question.
Yeah.
Somebody's asking, can you please demonstrate the
Yeah.
the left main and the main left layer alternatives? So on that screen, now you were playing single instruments, but there's actually a way of combining multiple instruments and layers.
Yes.
So can you kind of explain that whole concept and demonstrate that for this? It's a great question. So.
Absolutely. So here's a piano, right? Across the keyboard, from bottom to the top, it's a piano. So one of the things you can do is touching the layer button, the layer icon on the screen. And what layer means? It's like a sandwich, 2 things on top of each other that will be played with together. So a typical layer with piano would be, for example, strings. So let's turn on the layer. And now the screen, the middle of the screen gets divided into 2 sounds. The top one is the piano, the bottom one is keynote strings. So now if I play it, I get piano and strings. But you know what? The piano's too loud right now. I can go to the mixer. I can change the level of the string by itself. So here's the strings. Let's bring it down. Oh, I like that
cool.
more.
Very cool.
Not only that, you know, for some reason, if I want the piano to be on the left and the strings on the right, I can change the
Get your
panoramic
headphones on for this.
position.
Get your headphones on for this. This is cool.
So here is the piano on the right, ready for the headphones. Let me bring up the strings.
Oh, that's cool.
Right, let's go back to the center. So now the third thing you can do, let's keep this in the center here, right here. Here we go. And let's get out. So the third thing you can do, in addition to layer, at the same time, you can turn on the left voice, and you can change. Right now there is, if you look carefully, I can bring my fly camera if you want, but the split point is right here, F#4, I believe, right here, son. I don't want to be incorrect, so you can. Nah, that's F#3. It's F#3. Well, depends. I'm confused. Is this C4?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So this is 3.
Right.
Right.
You said 4. Whatever.
Oh, I did again.
I can't
see,
count. Yeah.
See,
No
I'm just
worries,
happy
no worries.
to.
No, but let's make sure we understand the difference. Okay. So, as Heratch was mentioning, layering puts 2 voices together at the same time. The left one, what he's now demonstrating, putting things on the left, that is a separate sound that plays only by itself at that range. We call a split point. That's the range where on the left side of the keyboard, right, those notes are only the left sound. And then from that point on to the right, everything else is that layer sandwich or just the main, okay? So
That's right.
So
and,
go ahead.
And if you can see on the instrument, the color change. I know it maybe. Yeah, actually you can see it. It's purple. That tells you where the split point is or where that division is. So basically, it divided the instrument into 2 parts: the right part and the left part.
Can you demonstrate
now,
that? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So now to access the voices for these, you just touch on the left right here. And a typical voice that you would find on the left would be maybe a bass. So if we go to the bass category, and let's go to maybe an active bass. And then on the right hand, you still have. So the bass is not playing on the upper register here, but it is played here.
And can you demonstrate once again how you can change the voices in the main and the layer as well?
So let's break it down. So normally you're in main, which is 1 sound, okay? To do a layer or the sandwich or layer of 2 voices, you touch on the layer. Now it up and down. The one on the top is the main one, the piano. The one at the bottom is the new layer. To change that layer, you touch basically on the keynote strings and change it to, I don't know, ooze if you want. So now it's piano and ooze.
Cool.
That was simple. Now,
Now, can you change the main also?
yeah, of course. You just touch on the main, and now we can make it strings, for example. So now I have keynote, I have slow strings and ooze. Now
Ah.
now here, let me bring up the ooze a little bit. Let me go to the layer, bring it up, and then bring up the strings, right? Now, and the third thing you can do is turn on the left. Now on the left, I want a piano now because I always need a piano. If I go touch on the split point, here. If I touch on this area where it says left, I can choose from the category, and I want CFX. And if I go get out, and it automatically changed the octave for you.
Cool.
Because we always think that you kind of need, yeah, this is one octave higher, right? So you can change that. You can change the octave or the transposition even of this, or change it. Actually, not trans. You don't want to change that transposition because then you have two different keys you're playing from. But you can actually change the octave to be the higher or the lower octave. But in this case, the instrument is smart enough to know that since you're going to be comping with your left hand, it doesn't make sense for it to be so low. It moved it up, but you can change it. So now I have piano. And similarly, you can go to the mixer and you can bring up the left, which is right here. So now the piano is really loud.
Got a little question for you. One more great question for somebody's asking. Now, this kind of goes beyond, a little beyond the scope, but we're focusing on the CVP 809 right now. But this person's asking about an app that works with some of the other Clavinovas that Yamaha has created. He's asking, is volume adjustment of the layers available in the Smart Pianist app for CSP, CLP, or is this only something we can do with CVP Clavinovas?
Yes, it is available.
Okay, cool.
Using the Smart Pianist app, yes, you can. You can actually go in and change the layer and the octaves, similar to what we do here.
Okay,
yes.
cool. Thanks.
Now, we've done a lot of configuration, right? Now, the question probably that nobody's asking is like, hey, how do I get to this point really, really quick? Go ahead and ask me that question, Hugh-san.
Go ahead. How do you get to this point really, really quick? I mean, because, what's interesting is that you just spent a lot of time configuring all these knobs and stuff.
That's
Great.
right.
Well, let's say you go to sleep, come back tomorrow, and you don't have to do that all over again, right?
Correct.
Is
That's
there a way
why
to
we have
save
something.
This?
Yeah, this is what we call registrations, and you can have hundreds of these. So these buttons right here, basically you press memory, you select one of the ones, and it gets saved there. You can come back to it anytime, and then you can recall it. Basically, it's like taking a snapshot Polaroid picture of the entire settings of the instrument with a single shortcut buttons, and you can name them, etc. You can just touch, just like the demo that I'm doing, actually, that's what I'm using. I'm using these registration to make myself look more professional by just going to the the right settings without having to push too many buttons quickly.
Right.
So it is a shortcut that memorizes everything you've done on the instrument, and you can save hundreds of these. So that's
It's
two birds
interesting
with
because
one
you're
stone.
borrowing a little bit from the organ world for folks who are familiar with church or house of worship pipe organs. They actually have this system on most organs where, because there are lots of little buttons and things you have to adjust, you can actually save all of the settings with these registration buttons. It kind of saves all those, whatever you've dialed or toggled, you can save that, and then saving those registrations automatically switches everything, and that registration instantly changes the sound. So it kind of borrowed a little bit from the organ world into this Clavinova world. Very cool.
Yeah. Okay. So slightly, another technology, just like what I said about Ratatouille, anybody can cook. With Follow Light, anybody can play. There's one more. Anybody can sing, believe it or not.
No, I can't sing. I can't sing.
Anybody, you can sing.
I don't believe you, I can't sing.
So let me prove it. So I'm going to move this mic out of the way. Again, hopefully technology will work. I'm going to mute it. Hold on a second.
Don't hear you quite yet. Not yet. Almost. Gotta love technology. It'll get there. It'll get there. So what
Hold
Heratch
1 second. I'm going to figure this out.
Yeah, what Heratch is working on, which is one of the coolest things, and I actually have a video, and I confess I can't sing, but there are some really cool vocalization things that come with the CVP 809. I mean, it comes with a vocoder, it comes with a pitch corrector. You can sound like 3 or 4 people at the same time. It's really, really cool. And even for somebody like me who can't sing, it makes me sing like I'm perfectly in tune. So you have it all set? I think he's almost ready.
I do actually,
Okay,
and I love these moments. So here's something about me, if I may. I love moments when things don't go right. Because that's how customers feel sometimes. Like, oh, what did just happen? He doesn't know, etc. So I want to explain why, when I was talking, you didn't hear anything. Because once I understand what happened, I'd like to explain to why there was no sound. So earlier, before we went on, Houston and I were having good time. Nobody saw what we did. We're just having great time talking, playing. Yeah, exactly. Shush. Exactly. So one of the things I was having fun with is something called a vocoder. So a vocoder is an effect type for the microphone that you have to play on the keyboard for your voice to come out. So it's dictated by the notes that you play on the keyboard. So I'm going to prove it to you. So I'm going to remove this mic now. Now you can hear my voice when I play the notes on the keyboard. This was what we were doing earlier.
That's so cool.
So I'm going to change it so it can be a little bit more civilized playing, so I can explain what vocal harmony does. And when I play chords, it's only mono. So if I go to voice settings, turn off gate, and then I'm going to vocal harmony, change it to something more realistic, like the standard harmony. Now you can hear me with reverb. Let me go back to mic settings and just lower that reverb because we want to be a little bit civilized. Okay. So vocal harmony, what it is, it allows you to connect a dynamic microphone to the front, to the bottom of the instrument. And there's a gain knob at the bottom. And you can see right here, there's an LED that blinks green. And we want it to stay green as long as possible. Once in a while, if it goes in the red, it's okay. But that's how you set the level to get a good level out of the volume of the microphone. The page that I'm in right now, I can do things like adding reverb to my voice, and it basically polishes my voice. Now I can go to the vocal function, and if I exit, go to vocal harmony, I can choose from the presets. Earlier, I had the vocoder, now I have the standard harmony. This is playing the vocal harmony. No matter how I sing, it will play the vocals right the way you do. Just because your son is so cool, I'm making a fool of myself. Yeah, 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 yeah. So I'm playing chords with my left hand and it's harmonizing. Now, let me just make this more meaningful because this is cool. You can do that. You can have a good time. In other words, I'll show you something fun that the family can have a good time. So I went to vocal harmony by touching on the vocal harmony icon. And forgive me for having a little bit of reverb momentarily. I touch on vocal harmony. And then on the top right here, you touch on that. And now you can choose the type of vocal harmonization. So here's something cool that I can show you. Hi, Houston. How you doing today? Hope things are well with you.
Yes, today was a fantastic day. I just had a great time. So, let's
go back to the normal vocal harmony, right? So you can have a good time and you can edit all these. But the magic happens, what I said earlier, anybody can sing. Let me show you how. So if we go to the MIDI files that you can load or the built-in ones, let's do What a Wonderful World. Here's how cool. If I touch on lyrics, it will display the lyrics for me. And the harmonization, I don't have to play anything. I just have to read and try to sing. And the vocal harmonization technology will happen automatically. Yeah, 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 yeah. No hands on the instrument. See dreams of green, I forgot the lyrics. Red roses too, I see them blue. For me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Let me switch back to the other mic, 1 second.
Now, this is what he really sounds like when he's singing.
Exactly. So, do you really think I have vibrato in my voice?
Of course
I
you
do
It's
not.
beautiful.
I do
All right,
not.
come on, let's hear the real singing.
No, that's not gonna happen. I cannot sing for the life of me. Are you kidding me?
But
No,
that's
no, no.
what's amazing about it, because it actually makes
Yeah.
you sound like you can sing, yeah? So,
Exactly. And that's what I meant by actually anybody can sing, because it is just an amazing feature and you don't have to do anything extra. This is a great moment for the family to come in. It's the best karaoke, and there are thousands of titles that you can choose from, whether I'm downloading them or select them on the instrument, and just hit play and just sing, and it will automatically harmonizes your voice. If you're an advanced user, then you can actually dictate the harmonization by how you play the chords with your left hand. So you have the best of both worlds. And remember what I said earlier, Houston, you can actually record audio.
Yes.
So when you travel, you can actually take the recording that you've done with you. You can actually record your voice as well as audio. So you can have the piano and voice at the same time. It's great for songwriters because a lot of times it's a different perspective to hear yourself by yourself. Like, for example, when you play and sing at the same time, it's a different experience when you record yourself playing and hearing yourself sing, because you can go back, correct things, take notes, etc. So it's the best platform for songwriters as well. Make sense?
absolutely. So,
All right.
yeah, I'm going to actually say, we're already almost an hour and a half, over an hour and a half into this. This is, I mean,
Last one.
Last
one.
Let's do one last
one.
feature. Okay, hold on.
One last
One
feature.
last feature.
One last feature. All right. So we have great speakers. I love and appreciate your patience, Houston, with me, just because I think this feature is kind of cool. So we have an amazing sound system in the CVP 809, and it will be a shame for not using the sound system that it has for other reasons other than just enjoying to play the sounds. So I'm going to demonstrate for you the phone. Oh, that's Sugar and Pepper, by the way. Those are my two dogs. Yeah, I had to throw those in there, just,
course.
capitalize on the moment. So the way it's going to work is I'm going to go to settings, and let me go in landscape mode. And look, I even projected the iPad for you so you can see what I'm doing. So, and on the CVP, I'm going to menu. I'm going to go to Bluetooth. So here we go. So we have two things going on. So the first thing is I want to turn it on the CVP, right? So we turn the function of Bluetooth. Next, on the iPad that I have in front of me, I'm going to turn it on. And in a moment, the iPad, the CVP serial number will actually show up in the list of Bluetooth devices that are, that you select. So that's the TV somewhere in there. And then in a moment, if things go right, that's the
there we go.
CVP. Yeah. And if you touch on that, now the Clavinova says connected. Awesome. And it says the name of the device that you're on. So what can we do here? So let me switch to, let me get out of this page. And if I go to my iTunes, let's see who I have queued up. Oh, my friend Carol Waltzman. And then she is actually one of my best friends. She lives really close to us. We take our
cool.
dogs to the park. So now if I play the song on the iPad itself, you're hearing the sound of the iPad being transmitted via Bluetooth to the CVP 809 speaker system. Now, this is great for holidays, for Christmases, for any occasion to use the bespoke sound system that the CVP has, which is an amazing sound system It's got low-end bass, it's got high trebles, it's got mid-range, beautiful sound that you can use to actually entertain your guest by using it as a speaker, as a stereo system in your house. Not only that,
Play together with it. That's so cool.
you can actually play on top of it as well. So with that in mind, that is the Bluetooth connection, and thank you so much for giving me the chance to show you that one last thing. There's so much more, by the way.
I'm going to
That's
throw
why.
one last question your way. This person's asking,
Sure.
if you were just playing a song on the keyboard, not MIDI, just sheet music, will the piano harmonize if you use the voice settings and recognize what you are playing? I think,
Ask the question again.
okay, so I think this person is so here's the question again. If you are just playing a song on the keyboard, not MIDI, just sheet music, will the piano harmonize if you use the voice settings and recognize what you are playing? Let me see if I can interpret that question a little bit. So I think there's a little bit of confusion in terms of what MIDI is and what the CVP 809 as a whole is. The CVP 809 is a MIDI instrument. So even if you're
Yes.
just playing a song and just using the piano and you want to harmonize it, yes, you can do that. There's no special setting to change the piano into a MIDI instrument. Even if you're playing it as a piano, the piano itself is functioning as a MIDI instrument. So can you go back and play the piano and maybe just demonstrate how you play just the piano sound and vocalize at the same time? Can you do that for us?
Oh, to bring the other mic in?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So again, what Heratch is going to do, he's going to bring his vocal. I mean, just you can use any dynamic microphone connected to the CVP 809.
There we go.
He's going to
Check,
just
check,
play
1,
the
2.
piano and turn on the vocal harmonization settings with just the piano and
Da-da-da-da, playing the piano sound on the piano.
right. So you can
Harmonizes my voice, playing whatever I do.
Isn't that cool?
And this chord is D
D flat,
flat.
major.
Thank you, you son. I don't want to get in trouble with him. Yeah.
I'm cheating because I can see the chord names actually on the CVP
Oh,
screen.
that's
right?
how you do it.
Well, I also have perfect pitch, but you can also cheat. So, Jill, I hope that answered your question that you can play any song on the CVP 809 in piano mode or any instrument
Yes.
mode and turn on the vocal harmonization, and yeah, it'll recognize what you're playing. Very, very cool.
So, you want to hear? Maybe this will also help. Guess what? So, what's going on here? I'm actually harmonizing not my voice, but the piano sound.
Ooh.
Maybe that was the so if I use a trumpet, let me choose the trumpet voice on the right part.
Oh, I see. You can actually harmonize the instruments by themselves
The
too.
instrument,
oh,
exactly.
that is so cool.
So
So you're just playing single
So-
lines, right? Okay. Oh, look at that.
so if you combine this with a style, how cool is that?
Whoa, I just learned something. That.
So no, you knew that. Come on.
No, I actually
You're-
didn't. I
you're-
didn't know that you could harmonize.
You're nice.
No,
You're
no, that is
nice.
so
Stop
cool.
it.
See, I'm serious. I didn't know that. That is so.
Oh, okay,
That's
well.
so cool. Thanks for teaching that to me. That is really, really neat. Wow. So really
Yeah,
makes
so-
it,
and you
makes
can
your-
choose-
Yeah.
And just to show you how I got there, if you're interested,
Please, yeah.
I go to the menu, and there's a section called Keyboard Harmony right here.
Ah.
Now you can not only you can harmonize, you can choose the type of harmony that you want to do, and there are 5 pages, and each page is
my
different,
goodness, wow.
right? You can even do strum. So here's a. Yeah, and this is great if I choose a guitar voice,
yeah,
for
yeah.
example. Here's let's see if it works. My stylus just fell on the floor. And then the other types would be, not only you can change the volume. Oh no, I chose the wrong four-way. Sorry, that wasn't strum. It didn't sound like strum.
Oh, that is so cool! Here's a question for you. Quick question.
Sure.
You're playing full chords with your left hand. Let's say somebody's not that good with chords. Can they do the single finger chord?
Of course.
And get
You just
that
have to.
effect? So we're literally using just 2 fingers. Can you do that?
Yeah. So let me go to the fingering mode and change it to single finger right here. Right. Single finger, and then. Yeah. Again.
Wow.
Yes. So single mode. A whole note. I have to think now. You're making me think.
I know,
Really,
right,
here, son? No, but yes, you can choose depending on the fingering mode. You can choose, and then in the vocal harmony section, I'm sorry, the keyboard section, you can choose the type. As you can see, you can adjust the volume of the harmonization. And you can have it, you want the chord notes only or the original note as well.
Oh my goodness. That
And
is
you can
so
turn it
cool.
off. And you can assign it to a pedal, FYI.
Oh
So, yeah.
my. So
So I hope maybe that question was kind of a nice segue to,
yeah.
show something very, very powerful in the instrument.
Just amazing. So we just had someone who just said, just made my day. Muchas gracias.
Oh, awesome.
You're very welcome, Thomas. This it is amazing. I thought I knew a lot, but I'm like learning more things myself too. Thank you so much,
And that's
Heratch. This is incredible.
Yeah, and that's what I said about the instrument. It gives you longevity to actually learn, right? And with your help, that what we indicated at the beginning, and our collaboration maybe once in a while, we can bring these type of cool functions, cool things that you can do in the instrument to shed a light on it, so people can learn. Absolutely, yeah.
So I just want again, we're going to close off right now. I mean, literally, we could spend many hours, and actually, I think in a sense we will. I just want to remind everybody, one of the projects I have in my head is I want to go through this wonderful book by Hal Leonard called The Best Songs Ever, and it's a collection of just great songs. I think they have the 7th edition now, and I'm literally going to go through, and this is actually a big single note thing, so it's just perfect for people who don't know how to play the piano. And I'm going to go through that book with a CVP 809, and the great thing about this book is that it actually gives suggestions in terms of the kind of style of accompaniment to use with each song. And the CVP 809 actually has those styles built in that matches perfectly with the song. And so I'm going to do these live demonstrations showing how I pick the style, how I set up the CVP 809, how I play, and just give a basic piano lesson. And then, so it'd be great for everybody to explore and for me to learn more about the cool functions of the CVP 809.
I like that.
And then you and I are going to come back and maybe get some questions from folks from time to time. And I'm hoping to create either a weekly or a semi-weekly series of this. So every week, if you sign up for our newsletter, you guys can enjoy that.
I do have a surprise.
Oh, what's the surprise?
Surprise. So because I love what I do and I'd like to help in any way possible, because of this event, if anyone comes in and purchases a CVP 809 from you, Yusan, I'll be more than happy to spend one-on-one time via Zoom call, whatever it is, at the leisure of the customer's home, not obviously virtually. Then I can spend an hour or so with them one-on-one, free of charge, of course, to teach them some of the things that they need to learn about how to do on the instrument.
Oh, that is crazy! Guys are getting. So again.
Oh boy, maybe I should have.
No, this is wonderful.
It's too late now.
No, it is too late.
Online.
You promise. There you go. And this is thank you so much. It's very generous of you. I mean,
of course.
Not only will you get a wonderful CVP 809 from Cunningham Piano, either by purchasing online or from
Yep.
our King of Prussia, Cherry Hill, or Delmar, Delaware stores. If you just mention, here's the thing, just mention that you saw the Clavinova workshop with Heratch.
Yep.
If you mention that, we'll hook you up with Heratch so that you can have
Yes.
your own private one-on-one private training session and learn everything on and have all your questions answered. Heratch, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought so.
I think it's worth even
It's
more
a-
than the instrument itself.
Well, that's very generous, but
No,
it's
really, it's
actually,
amazing,
you know, it's a pleasure. You know, I mean, and I love seeing people taking full advantage
Yeah.
of the instrument, and that just makes my day. So I always try to do something positive and something productive a day, and if I do that once in a while, that's a
Be
nice
careful. You
nice
may
feeling
be
to
getting
have.
lines around the digital corner for your time there. But thank you. That's a very generous offer.
Yeah,
And again, just
of course.
mention the workshop, and then we'll get you hooked up directly one-on-one with Heratch to train you on your brand new CVP 809.
Absolutely.
All right, Heratch, thank you so
Awesome.
much for your generous time and talent and knowledge exploring. And we are just kind of the tip of the iceberg in terms of all the
Yeah.
things that you can do with the CVP 809. And again, if
Indeed.
you're watching on our website, you can just scroll right below the screen and you can see the list of the 809s that we actually have in stock. We have a limited quantity, but we do have some available. You can either purchase that through our new online store or in person at King of Prussia, Cherry Hill, or Delmar, Delaware. 3 stores there.
Awesome.
So, any closing remarks, Heratch?
On behalf of Yamaha, thank you, Yusan, for your time and your effort. And thanks for all the guests that joined us and will join us after this broadcast. And
I've got to
be
see.
safe and healthy. Thank you so much.
There's a little comment. Judy is saying, I'm excited about the new videos you have planned. This other person says, please do more of these shows, even more in the future. Oh, this is great. And a nice thanks from Bill. I love being able to add these little comments on the video. So again, everybody's been terrific. Thank you to all of our wonderful participants who shared such great questions, wonderful comments, great observations. Thank you for being a part of this live stream. And yeah, we'll do more of these. And we're back,
Sure.
basically, after this
Sure.
crazy time that we've all been together in the world. We are back. So watch
It's
out for
crazy.
more regular content from Cunningham Piano. Heratch and I will more than I'm so excited to collaborate with you and
Yes.
sign up for our newsletter. Stay tuned, and we'll have a lot more content coming your way. So again, thanks
Indeed.
so
Thank
much.
you so much.
Thank you, and take care, everybody. Have a good night, and we'll see you hopefully in one of our stores or online soon.
Yeah.